The United States holds a unique position on the world stage. As a global superpower, its foreign policy decisions reverberate across continents, shaping international relations and influencing the domestic affairs of nations. This influence is particularly pronounced in regions deemed strategically vital to US interests, such as the Middle East. Here, historical alliances, economic partnerships, and security concerns intertwine to create a complex geopolitical landscape. Navigating this landscape requires a nuanced understanding of regional dynamics, a commitment to diplomacy, and a willingness to adapt to evolving circumstances. The US has long grappled with these complexities, seeking to balance its own national interests with the often divergent aspirations of its allies and partners. This balancing act is nowhere more evident than in its relationship with Egypt. As a cornerstone of US policy in the Middle East, Egypt occupies a critical position in regional security and stability. The US has invested heavily in its partnership with Egypt, providing significant economic and military aid over the decades. However, this relationship has not been without its challenges. Differing perspectives on democracy, human rights, and regional conflicts have at times strained ties between the two nations. The recent decision by the United States to freeze nearly all foreign aid, except for military funding to Israel and Egypt, has sent ripples across the globe. This move, driven by a combination of domestic political pressures and a reassessment of US foreign aid priorities, has sparked debate about its implications for both recipient nations and US strategic interests. The decision to exempt Israel and Egypt from the freeze underscores their unique positions in US foreign policy. Israel, a long-standing ally, receives substantial military and economic aid, reflecting its strategic importance to the US in the volatile Middle East. Egypt, too, benefits from significant US military aid, a legacy of its historic peace treaty with Israel and its role as a regional security partner. The continuation of this aid, amidst a broader freeze, highlights Egypt's strategic significance to the US, particularly in combating terrorism, ensuring regional stability and safeguarding vital maritime routes. However, this selective approach to aid has drawn criticism from some quarters. Critics argue that it undermines US credibility as a global leader and undermines its commitment to promoting democracy and human rights in countries where such assistance is often conditional on progress in these areas. The ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine has presented a complex geopolitical puzzle for nations worldwide. Egypt, with its long-standing ties to both the West and Russia, has opted for a delicate balancing act, maintaining a neutral stance on the conflict. This neutrality reflects Egypt's pragmatic approach to foreign policy, prioritizing its own national interests above all else. Egypt's economy, heavily reliant on tourism and wheat imports, has been significantly impacted by the conflict, further reinforcing its desire to avoid entanglement in a distant war. Moreover, Egypt's relationship with Russia has deepened in recent years, particularly in areas of military cooperation and trade. Russia is a major arms supplier to Egypt and a key partner in the construction of Egypt's first nuclear power plant. This burgeoning partnership, while not a direct challenge to US influence, underscores Egypt's determination to chart an independent course in its foreign relations, seeking partnerships that best serve its national interests, even if they diverge from those of its traditional allies. The image of the United States on the world stage is a complex and often contested one. Perceptions of US foreign policy vary widely, shaped by historical experiences, cultural lenses, and the ever-evolving media landscape. In Egypt, as in many parts of the world, the US evokes a mix of admiration and resentment. The US is often seen as a beacon of democracy and opportunity, yet its actions, particularly in the Middle East, have at times fueled anti-American sentiment. The recent freeze on foreign aid, while exempting Egypt, has nonetheless contributed to a narrative of US retrenchment from global affairs. This perception, coupled with the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, where the US has emerged as a staunch supporter of Ukraine, has the potential to further complicate US-Egypt relations. Negative portrayals of the US, particularly those that resonate with pre-existing anti-American sentiments, could erode public support for close ties with Washington. This, in turn, could limit the effectiveness of US diplomacy and undermine its ability to advance its interests in the region.